Please don't take my sunshine away. Skies are gray of you, so please don't take my sunshine away. Good night. Good night. Good night.